Hi, how are you guys? Doing well? Great. This is Squareology with another Chess.com lesson. This lesson is going to be about a potential endgame, an endgame that could have arisen in my 11th blitz game, my part 11, the 11th edition of Blitz with Squareology. Okay, so in this position here, I'm white. I'm up a lot of material. I'm up a pawn, and I'm up a queen to a rook. That's a lot. But it's hard for me to win. Like, I probably should have moved my queen to e2 to get my rook off the f file, and then I should have moved my king over. But now, in this position, I understood the idea. I need to bring my king on g4 to e7. That's what I need to do. And then I'll be able to check the king. I'll be able to harass, to menace the king. For example, if my king is on e7, then queen f8 would be checkmate. So I'll be able to attack his king and the backwards f pawn. It's a backwards pawn. That f pawn can't advance. It can't go forward because if it goes to f5, then I just take en passant with either pawn, and I'm going to be up more material and I'm going to be able to attack the e6 pawn as well. Not to mention, I'd have checkmate in that position. I mean, if he played it now. So I need to get my king to e7. I need to increase the value of my king, the power of my king, by putting it to e7. The other thing that I need to do, that's what I need to do. Yeah, that's basically it. But how am I going to do that? Because the rook is blocking me off. Now, one idea, is to bring the queen back to e2 to get him off the f file and then to start moving the king. Instead, I played queen f6. I like this. It's just a very simple move right here. I played queen f6. I attacked the rook, and I was hoping that he'd take. He didn't take in the game. You can watch the game, which is the 11th part in my Blitz series, to see exactly how I would have been able to handle that. I mean, how I did handle that, because that's how the game went, and I ended up winning very easily. Okay, so let's just look at what happens if he takes in this position. I'll take with my e-pawn. That's the best move. That makes the most sense. If I take with the g-pawn, that's a little bit silly because my e-pawn doesn't have any mobility at all. I can't advance my e-pawn. But when I take with the e-pawn, when I play ef6, my e4 pawn has mobility, can go forward. I'm not going to go forward just yet, but it has mobility, and the g pawn also has mobility. I can sacrifice it under favorable circumstances because I'm up a pawn, and not only that, but I have a route to the king through the center to attack his pawns. I can go to f4, then e5, then d6, then e7, and then f7, and attack him like that. Okay, so here I didn't have to think twice. I didn't spend a lot of time assessing this position. It doesn't make sense to do that because there's so many things in my favor. I have a big advantage, a huge advantage, and you have to be able to evaluate correctly. Now, okay, so what are my advantages? First of all, I'm way more active than black. That's what you want to think of. Don't think in terms of like there are some coaches and authors and lots of players, they have their own compass, positional compass. You're free to choose whatever you want. You can create your own criteria for evaluating positions. What I try to look at most is just activity, and then the little things that make up activity. So here I'm way more active than black. How? First of all, I'm up material. If you're up material, then you have more pieces and you can attack more squares. That's activity. You're attacking more squares. The other thing is that I have a big space advantage, a gigantic space advantage. He can't. I mean, look at my two pawns on g5 and f6. They've already crossed the equator. They've already crossed the equator, and I'm doing fine there. You know, like you want to be able to advance your pawns. You want to be able to put pawns want to be pushed. Naturally, they want to be pushed up the board. Now, sometimes that can cause you that can hurt you if you don't have sufficient activity to back up that pawn power. If you don't have piece power to back up your pawn power, then you're going to be in trouble. But here I have piece power. because his king is so passive. I mean, we only have one piece each, a king and a king, and his king is very passive. It doesn't have what I have. My king. This is another thing. Not only do I have a space advantage, my pawns are farther advanced, but my king is more active than his king. Because, for example, it's farther up the board. That's good. And it has two ways to attack. I can go to f4, then d6, then f4, e5, d6, e7. And I also have h5, h6, h7. Or possibly sacrificing the pawn, g6, hg6, king g5, king h6. So I have two ways. That's mobility. That shows. That demonstrates that I have more activity. Okay, so I have a big space advantage, a material advantage, and I have more mobility. My pieces are more active. So I'm not trying to just list it. It's just a lot of things. You'll come up with your own way of assessing positions and evaluating. The best person in the world for that is Magnus Carlsen, and then all the top grandmasters, Anand, Kramnik, they all do that. They all have an amazing ability to evaluate positions. They're probably not thinking, step by step. You'll gain that from experience, but you should at least. I'm just planting that seed in your head. Okay, so how am I going to win? In this position, he'll play king f8 most likely, and now I have a good move, king f3. I like this move. My idea is just to put him in Zugzwang. Because it's an endgame and I have all these advantages, the crowning jewel is going to be Zugzwang. That's the tactical motif that is going to help me win. Because the signal that's at play here is impotent defense. He's just impotent against the onslaught. He can't do anything. He doesn't have the material. He doesn't have the space. He doesn't have the piece activity. He doesn't have anything. He just doesn't have anything. So he's just impotent. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get a tactic based on that signal, and the most common tactical motif to come from that signal is Zugzwang in the endgame. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, so here he has a choice. He can play king e8. If he plays or king g8, either one, I'm gonna play king f4. And I'm strong here, very strong. In this position here with his king on e8 and my king on f4, he's in Zugzwang. He's got to choose. He's got to choose which way he's going to lose. If he goes to d7, then he's too far away. Defends too far away. I can play g6, sacrifice the pawn, and no matter how he takes, for example, let's say he plays fg6. Then I'm going to penetrate and start attacking the h7 pawn. And I'm not going to give up the e-pawn, so I'll play e5 to protect my pawn. Because I don't want to trade my pawn. I don't have to trade. I can just win his pawns. I have such a big advantage that I don't have to trade. I can just win his pawns. So king g8, and now he's in Zugzwang. All I have to do is waste a tempo. g4, and now when he plays king h8, I have f7, checkmate on the next move. For example, g5, rook f8, or f8 equals rook, checkmate. And then if he plays the king to f7 or f8, then I'm taking on h7, and I'm going to eventually win the g pawn and promote. Okay, so let's go back. Let's say at this point he takes with the h pawn. Well, I'm still going to do the same thing. I play king g5. He can try to defend the f pawn, but he's going to lose. I'm going to have Zugzwang. I'm going to have the tactical motif of Zugzwang once again, because I have all these things in my favor. I have activity in my favor. And there's no way he's going to be able to offset my space advantage, my material advantage. Okay, I don't have a material advantage, but I sacked it for a favorable position. Or my activity, my piece activity, the quality of my king is on another level. My king has way more quality than his king, which does very little, has very little mobility, not attacking anything. It's just passive, and it doesn't have many squares. It only has one square to move to in this position. I have two. Okay, so G5, and then king H8. And now he has to give ground. King E8 and king G7. And I'm going to take the F7 pawn on the next move. He'd like to pass, but he can't. Even if he could pass, I'd still win. I'd play king H6 and then king G5, and I'd be up a pawn. So he's just really in really bad shape. Okay, so let's go back. Let's say in this position he doesn't go to D7. Let's say he goes to E5. Let's see. I mean, sorry, not E5. F8. Okay, F8. Well, then I go to E5, and now I'm penetrating. He's simply too passive. I play king D6 eventually. He gets opposition, but I look at my G and E pawns. I can move them because I have that extra mobility. I can just move them. And here I play E5. Once again, he's in Zugzwang. He plays king C8, then I play king E7, and I'm going to take the F pawn. If he plays king E8, well then I do what I just did to him, but on the other side. And he has to give ground. Eventually, I'm going to take the F pawn. He can't do anything, and then I'm going to checkmate him. I don't even have to take en passant. H4, G7, check, king H7, and then I promote to a queen and checkmate him. All right, so let's go back to F3. What happens if he goes to G8? Well, then we're going to transpose into a line that we just saw. I play king F4, he plays king F8, king E5, and then we're right back to this position where he has opposition, but I can waste the tempo. See that? I just wasted tempo, and now we're right back to where we were. So all these things, I didn't think about them. I mean, I couldn't see all these lines in less than a second. You can look at the game. I just moved my queen to F6 and knew that it was winning. I didn't have to calculate anything because it was really obvious that here, after rook F6, EF6, that I had too much of an advantage. It was just gigantic. Space, material, which in turn means more activity and more mobility. And I also had a better king, which means more agility, more mobility. All of that translates to more activity. Just think in terms of activity. I got this idea from a coach from Ukraine. He's a grandmaster. His name is Igor Smirnov. He just said, just think in terms of activity. Just think in terms of activity. Everything is about activity. If you have more activity, then you're better. That's positional chess. Positional chess is being able to interpret the different ways you can get activity, like a healthy pawn structure, like better pieces, like coordinated pieces, more mobility. And all these things will translate to a better endgame. All right, so hopefully that provided a good explanation of why I played Queen F6 and how I just knew it was winning. I didn't have to calculate or anything. All right, guys, please follow me on Twitter at Squirology, and I'll see you on Chess.com. Okay, bye.